So we're looking at Leah's images here. You have ISO 400, f5.6 at 1/125th of a second. So those settings all look good. Now, as I said in the video, it looks like you started with a smaller image and then made this larger. As you can see back here, you can see that there's like little squares, and that's that this image is pixelated. So we need to make sure that you're sizing your original image, and your original image you're shooting at the largest settings on your camera. I know for PH 108, you have the newspaper assignment, and every once in a while, a student will shoot the smaller image second instead of first, and then continue to shoot with that smaller setting for your file size. So make sure that's not the situation here. This is your second image that you posted, but I'm going to guess that this is your formal image, and this is why I need the names to be correct, because otherwise I'm guessing, and that's not fair. It's not fair to you and your images. So here we have a formal image with the bridge going over the top. We have the shape and the pattern of the bridge. We move across, you're creating nice lines here, to the houses, and then we look at the shape and formal qualities here. This image was shot at 5.6, 1/125th of a second, ISO 400, so your settings all look good, but your image is a little underexposed. So I would expose this about a stop more to get the proper exposure here. But my main concern here is that pixelation that's happening. And we see that again here, and I'm guessing this is your narrative image. We see that pixelation. It's really easy to see in the sky. You can even see it on their arms. So maybe this is your kids and they're going out to the water to play on a darker, windier day, and that creates this nice atmosphere, and them holding hands and moving forward and the wind blowing, all of that's creating a nice narrative. Again, it feels slightly underexposed, maybe a stop underexposed, and then just watch your edges, watch where you're cropping, because right here, this crop on the hand creates a little bit of tension, which is unneeded in this image. If we come back here, we can look at your contact sheet. So make sure your contact sheet is named as your third image instead of your first image, as you have it here. And this is a much better exposure than we're seeing here. You can see that change happening. This is a much better exposure. This is a better exposure. This is a better exposure. So these images are all pretty underexposed. So as you're photographing, you're going to be learning in PH 108 how to do bracketing, and I would encourage you to bracket your images to get the best exposure. All right, these images are by Jerell, and here we have an image simply of the flowers, and you have a decent exposure on this image. You're at, oh yeah, there's no metadata here. So you'll need to resubmit all of these images with the metadata. As you're seeing, I'm like relying a lot on the metadata to get feedback to students. So I need to see your metadata on these images, but here we can see that you have a shallower depth of field, or you're close to your subject so the background falls out of focus. That works really well for those flowers to pop. There's a softness about this image, and it's not focused. It's kind of the way the light's moving here. It almost looks like it was raining or something, so I'm not sure what that is coming from, if there was moisture in the air, what's happening there. Here, this is more of your narrative, very close to the images that we saw of the purple flowers, where you brought in, well, you didn't bring in, but you photographed a bee, a bumblebee on the roses here. So again, it looks like there's like a film on this. So I'm wondering if your lens is dirty, if it looks like it was like raining out, or there's something on your lens, but you can see like there's a lack of clarity in these images. So we need to make sure that that gets resolved. But even more than that, I need to see your metadata so I can give you proper feedback on your images. Here you have your formal and narrative. And I think your formal is probably one of the stronger images. Remember, as you're photographing things like flowers, that we see those all the time. So you want to make us approach them in a new way. So maybe showing us one that's kind of chewed up like you have here. Oops. Or getting really close, like really close to the flower and abstracting it would be a nice approach. But think of how you can make us see these flowers that we see all the time in a new and unique way.